We visit with 3 elementary Arlington ISD teachers who won the coveted Aware Award. Next, here on Conversations. Welcome to Conversations. I'm your host, Jeannie Curtis. The Aware Foundation has been honoring teachers for over 20 years for outstanding teaching at their annual Spring Awards Banquet. AWARE stands for Arlington will award and recognize educational excellence. On today's show, we feature 3 of these teachers. Burris from Hale Elementary is the winner of the 4th through 6th grade category. Choir teacher Johnny Maples from Farrell Elementary, winner of the 2nd through 4th grade category. And we start off with the pre-K through 1st grade winner from Dunn Elementary, Jennifer Marsh.
I graduated from Cameron University in Lawton, Oklahoma with a bachelor's degree in elementary education. I then moved to Texas where I started teaching in Duncanville my first year. I taught 6th grade math and science, and we were team teachers, so that was a great experience. My sister also is a teacher, and she moved to Texas with me, so we were together. And we decided we wanted to change, so we moved to Arlington, and we got a job here. I got a job at Dunn Elementary when Mark Strand was the principal here, and Debbie Williams was the vice principal. I taught 6th grade math. It was wonderful. I had a great team. We had a great experience together. It was very sad for me because the next grade coming up was smaller, and so they had to cut a teacher, and since I was the last on the team, I was the first to go, which was very sad for me, but it opened some doors that were very unexpected. And when I was asked what I wanted to teach, I said kindergarten. So they offered me the 1st grade job because there was a 1st grade opening, and then he pulled me back in and he said, well, we've learned that there's a new opportunity here in Arlington that they're going to move kindergarten from half day to full day. Would you like to be a kindergarten teacher? And I said, absolutely. And so I took the job. It was amazing. I do miss my upper grade kids, my 6th grade kids, but it opened doors for me, and I felt at home, and I knew that that's where I fit. So I taught for 12 years here at Dunn in kindergarten, and last year the opportunity came up that the pre-K teacher left and moved out of state, and so this position opened up, and so I moved into this position as pre-K teacher, and it's been wonderful.
Was it helpful that you were a kindergarten teacher before being a pre-K teacher?
Absolutely. I definitely think that being a kindergarten teacher for so long really helped develop my sense of what they needed to know before they came in our room, so we could just start off on the kindergarten curriculum, because a lot of times you kind of have to go back and build that background for them. So I feel like every day I kind of put that pressure on myself. These kids need to be ready for that because this is what they need to do next. And so I really think that it has helped me kind of up the level of what I expect them to do, because I know what they're going to need to do to be successful in kindergarten.
You mentioned your sister also works for the district?
Yes, my sister is Crystal Thiessen, and she works for Arlington also. She started off at Miller as in 4th grade, and she went to 3rd and then back up to 4th. And then she got her administration degree, and so the opportunity came up for her to be an instructional facilitator at Anderson, and so she moved over to Anderson and was instructional facilitator for a few years, and now she's their testing coordinator.
Do you have other family members that are teachers?
Well, that's actually why we came to Arlington Independent School District. Is my aunt and uncle worked for Arlington Independent School District. My aunt is Marcia Sanders, and she worked for the district for the Reading Recovery Program, and my uncle is William Sanders, and he worked at West Elementary for a long time. And other places. Remenzi, he went to Remenzi, and he was, I think, an instructional facilitator for science for several years before he retired.
When did you know you wanted to be a teacher?
Oh, I've known that I wanted to be a teacher since I was little. When I was in school, my teachers inspired me, and I had to work really hard at times, but that motivates me. I like to be challenged, and my sister and I, we would always play school. She was a grade older than I was. And so she got to be the teacher a lot. I had to play student a lot, but that was fine. But when I got to play teacher, it was very special to me. And so I shined in math a lot. So a lot of times I could be the math teacher while she was always the reading teacher. So we were together. We were two peas in a pod, and we knew we wanted to be teachers, and that's what we became.
At the Aware Dinner, when Alice Peterson was reading the statements about the pre-K through first grade winner, at what point did you realize that you were that winner?
I realized it might be me, or I had a good chance that it was me, when she started reading the essay about the person and she mentioned pre-K. I thought, okay, that's me. I was kind of doing these little check boxes in my head. And then she started speaking of foundations of literacy and reading and how important that is, and the use of technology in the room. And just there were key parts in there that sounded like probably something my principal would have said, and maybe what they board members, I hope, would say about me if they came into my room. And so about halfway done, I thought that probably is me. And so I kind of just pushed my chair back and tried to relax and stay calm, and it was a surprise, but it was amazing.
Jennifer Marsh from Dunn Elementary.
Do you remember the walk up to the stage?
As soon as they called my name and called Dunn, I saw my principal, Mary Helen. She jumped up and she started clapping. She was the first one out of her chair, and I just remember seeing that the whole way. And we had another table up at the front of all Dunn teachers. They were on their feet first clapping, and that was a great moment for me.
How are you going to spend your cash prize?
I know, and I'm still having a hard time figuring out what exactly I want to do with it. So I'm thinking new home computer, or do I want wood floors, or do I want a hot tub? I mean, what do I want to do? Because I want to have something big to remember it by. I don't want it just to be little here, little there. So I put it in my savings, and I'm having to choose.
What is your philosophy on teaching?
If you teach them, they'll learn to have a clear, focused objective, and to try to teach in a fun way that the kids will understand and they'll remember, and that if they can teach it to the other kids, then you know they have it. And so I really try to incorporate that into our room and everything we do, and make it so they're active in their learning, that they're not just passively sitting there, and they know at some point they're going to have ownership, and they're going to get to be, I call it Sprout of the Week, and that's my helper all week, and that person is the one who gets to come up and help me teach and be my Sprout and be the leader, and that everybody gets a chance to do that. We've been through everybody in the room now, and so we have a Sprout of the day, and so I choose one kid a day, and I just believe when they can show the others they know, then they learn more from each other than they'll ever learn from me. I just have to lead the way. And so I feel like my job is to model, show them, teach them, and then release some of that power to them, because I think it's very empowering when they're so proud of themselves for the things that they can show their friends.
Do you have a teacher that inspired you?
I had several teachers that inspired me. I remember a grade school teacher, Mrs. Mitchell, in third grade. She took an interest in me, and she got really close with my family, and we lived kind of close together. And I remember my mom going over there and us going over there, and we really developed a special bond with her. And I remember how cool I thought that was as a kid, and that really fostered my sense of how I want to involve parents and let them know and let them be part of my life. And also when I was in 5th grade, we moved towns, and I had a teacher, and her name was Mrs. Croy, and she was a brand new teacher. It was her first year teaching. She was a 5th grade teacher, and she always came up with the most fun ways to review things like social studies, maybe that I wasn't necessarily as interested in, but she made it fun to learn. She would, we would throw these M&Ms or popcorn in the air and have games, and I just remember how fun she made learning, and I thought, that's the first time I've ever thought, oh, learning is super fun. And then in high school, we had lots of great teachers. We had an English teacher named Mrs. Bullard, fantastic. She taught me a lot about writing. and Mrs. Peterson, she was an English teacher. I needed lots of help with English, so they tend to stick out for me. She taught us a lot, and then I was in student council, so she really led me in a way to show me how to be a leader. And she also was the leader of, it was a brand new program, it was called Teacher Cadets. And so if you wanted to be a teacher, we had an after-school group that met and to inspire us to be teachers. And so that's kind of where I started really focusing myself.
Have you thought about your speech that you have to give next year?
Oh goodness. Well, of course, that was a surprise, as well as this interview was a surprise. So we're sitting there, and my sister looks at me, and she kind of goes, "If you win, you have to write a speech." I'm like, I see that. I said, that's a surprise. And then after I won, the first thing she did when I got back to the table, she was like, "You have to start writing your speech now." I'm like, yes, I do. Because that's a tough act to follow, because the speeches were so inspiring and so amazing. And so I want to bring a little bit of that next year.
A WARE winner in the 2nd to 4th grade category, here's Farrell Elementary choir teacher Johnny Maples.
My name is Johnny Maples, and I've been teaching in Arlington ISD for 4.5 years at Farrell Elementary. I went to the University of North Texas, and I studied under Dr. Taylor and Dr. McClung. The people I did my student teaching with, were the amazing Barbara Keaton at Ashworth, Dinah Minger at Arlington High School, and also my mother was my high school choir director at Coppell High School.
That's pretty impressive. Your training has come from talented teachers, and both of them are WARE winners.
Every day that I went into Ashworth and to Arlington, not only did I have a blast, but I learned something every single day that I took with me to Farrell Elementary, and I've used it every day that I come into this school.
Why did you become a teacher?
My mother, of course, was my high school choir director. When I went to college, I wasn't expecting to be a teacher. I wanted to be a famous singer or in a professional choir, and music is just my life. Music is truly my life, and whenever I did my student teaching, I absolutely loved the way the students responded to me. I could have fun with them as they learned, and for some reason they listened to me. It's kind of funny.
Why did you decide on teaching elementary students?
Every day that I went to Ashworth, I got to have a blast. I had fun. I got to play instruments with them. They would respond to me very well. I was able to go and be very creative with them, and at the same time have them learn and have fun and show them what music really should be about.
When the winner of the 2nd through 4th grade was being talked about, at what point did you know it was you?
I actually thought I was the runner-up, and the only reason why is because they said something about a song and a dance, teaching with a song and a dance. So I was like, hey, well, that's great. I got 2nd place. That's wonderful. And then they didn't announce my name, and I was like, oh no. It was a surprise till the end. I wasn't thinking about anything until they said my name. I was not expecting to win at all. That's why I jumped up and started shouting when I did win, for sure.
Do you remember your walk to the stage?
I remember this very awkward hug with my best friend and the girl I took that night, and kind of like a handshake, because there was a chair in between us. So it was just kind of a thing that I didn't really expect.
What is your philosophy of teaching?
I teach with a lot of kindness. I think that's the secret ingredient. I think that I teach with this kindness that kids really respond to, and I don't yell at my students. Barbara Keaton taught me that, and I've learned through other teachers as well that students and kids respond really well to kindness and not to yelling. If they're not afraid to make a mistake, then they tend not to make mistakes for some weird reason. When they come in my classroom, make them feel very welcomed. They're open to trying new things out, or them knowing that they don't have to make a mistake, or they can make a mistake, allows them to have this creativity and this openness in my music classroom. I've also found that pacing is pretty incredible. Pacing can make or break a classroom. Because kids have things instantaneous a lot of times at home, I try to move really fast from lesson to lesson. I think it's very important that you keep them on task at all times. And if you move so fast, and in this school year I called that non-stop music making as the motto, they really don't have time to talk or to get off of task. And the last thing is I try to make music really fun. The teachers that I've had in the classrooms I've been in through my middle school, high school, and elementary classes were just so much fun. Music should be fun, and if I can allow a student to have fun in here, they want to come to my classroom. It's like a treat for them, and when they get in here, I make it so much fun that they want to stay in here, and that has really helped with behavior. I really do not have to get students in trouble. They do the best they can because they want to have fun in my classroom.
Have you thought about your speech for next year?
I've thought a little bit about it, but I think I'm going to wait a few more months to start writing it. I'm just going to try to finish this school year and do great. But in the back of my mind, I have thought a little about what I could say. I've tucked some things away to kind of think about over the summertime for sure.
What about spending the prize money? Any thoughts?
I think I'm going to take a vacation. This summer, my friends and I are thinking about going on a vacation. We're not really sure just yet, but in the summertime, I'm for sure going to take a vacation somewhere.
Can you tell me what your class is doing today?
They're going to be playing Orff instruments with the song I've written that's called Firewood. As they're singing, they get to play metallophones and xylophones and glockenspiels and maracas and the tubano drum. Also, they'll be using their hand signs quite a bit. And if we get around to it, I'd like to show you conducting as well, because I love to have my students conduct in music class.
Conducting?
Well, the conducting part is kind of strange because a lot of times teachers will come in and they'll say, "What are those things?" And I'll say, "Well, they're conducting batons." And they said, "Well, I never did that in elementary school." And that's what I think is really cool about being at this job, is that I can show students things that we might do later on in junior high or high school, but we can do them right here in elementary school as well. And I teach them the way I was taught at UNT, Go Mean Green, and the way that they are able to learn just the way a conductor would as a professional or as a conductor of a professional choir, a band, or an orchestra.
Have you thought about teaching secondary choir?
My passion was high school choir when I first started at UNT, and it still kind of is. I'm a vocalist, so I absolutely love singing. So I've thought about going back to high school eventually, but right now my passion is in elementary school music. This happens all the time. Students will come into my classroom, and the songs that I teach them, they'll ask me, "Where did you get these songs, Mr. Maples?" And I say, "The textbooks that our state provides us. Arlington pays for them, but the state provides these textbooks that I get the songs from." And they say, "Oh, well, can I take them home?" And I say, "Well, no, we use them in class, but you can't take them home." And this has happened multiple times, and they'll say, "Can I pay you for them?" And I say, "No, we'll learn them next time you come." And they'll say, "Come on, Mr. Maples, how much do you want?" I'm like, "Go ahead and leave. We'll see you next time." They love the songs that I teach them, and I use the songs that I used in my student teaching, but also songs that sometimes I'll just flip open the book and choose the song that way. There are so many excellent songs and the additions that we use that every song I teach is just incredible to them. It provides them a fun way to learn, and it's also great because we get to use the textbooks that Arlington is paid for and the state provides us.
What was your major?
It was in music education with a concentration in voice from UNT. I thought about doing vocal performance because I love singing, but I went towards the music education route because I really wanted to change students' lives. I thought about, towards the end of my college career, how every day I can come into a classroom and show them how great music can be. When you're a professional singer, you don't get to do that. You get to do some incredible things, but you don't get to go into a classroom and show students what the subject of music can really be like.
Do you have any after-school activities?
We have a choir here at Farrell, an award-winning choir. This year there's 58 students in it. We went to the Pride of Texas Festival, which I saw other schools there from Arlington as well. That's on Tuesdays from 3:30 to 4:30. I'm also in a professional choir out of Texas Wesleyan University and a barbershop quartet that I love to sing in. So as you can tell, singing is kind of my gig for sure.
Now we move to our last elementary teacher, a WARE winner in the 5th to 6th grade category, science teacher Brooks Burris.
My name is Brooks Burris, and I was born right here in Arlington, Texas. Went to schools in Mansfield, graduated from Mansfield High School. I went to Texas State University for college, got a degree in communications, and was doing a couple odd jobs in Austin, and I was talking to my mom one day, who's a principal in Arlington. She said, "Why don't you come up, I think you'd be an awesome teacher." And I said, "You know what, I think that might be a calling of mine." So I tell a lot of people that teaching found me instead of me finding teaching, and with a little help from Mom. And I came up here and I got certified through the ECAP program. I had an awesome time there. I'll never forget July 4th of 2009. Principal at the time here, Lynn Hale, called me up and offered me a position in 5th grade. I knew, and he said, "What would you want to? What would you kind of want to teach?" And I said, I always have I've been a strong reading student. I love social studies. And then he gave me science, and I said, "All right." I said, "Okay." And then it couldn't have been. It couldn't have been a better spot for me. I had a hidden talent and passion for science, and just just couldn't imagine teaching anything else. It's been awesome. So this is my 4th year at Hale. 4th year as a Hurricane, and hope many more to come. I love it here.
At the Aware Foundation Awards dinner, at what point during the reading about the winner did you know it was you?
When they were announcing the final winner for Aware, when they read some of my my philosophy of teaching, I knew immediately that it was me, and I think I turned to my mom, and she said, "Is it you?" You know, kind of mouthed it, and I said, "Yeah, it's me." And I really, it honestly was a surprise because I know there was a lot of great teachers up for it, and I was just in shock. And as soon as they called my name, I just remember it being so surreal. Just walking up those stairs, it felt like a dream. I was just didn't see it coming at all. So, and then shaking Dr. Cavazos' hand and coming back to my seat, a standing ovation. I just got chills. It's just a really, really big honor, and I don't even know if it's completely set in yet. And the next day at work, it was field day, so I really got to see everyone in the school and just was overwhelmed with congratulations. We actually had a potluck that day for myself and the Employee of the Year, and got lots of nice compliments and things, and it's just been an amazing experience.
Any thoughts on how you're going to spend your prize money?
I wanted to spend it originally, and I actually, a couple days after I got it, was looking at vacations and things that I've always wanted to do. And then I said, hold on, maybe the smarter thing is to kind of save it a little bit. So it's actually, I haven't spent it yet. I'm still kind of deciding, but I think I'm leaning towards kind of saving it for a rainy day, or at least to kind of make it last a little bit. And also, I won the door prize right after that. I felt actually kind of guilty. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I'm cleaning up here, so that was really nice. So I'll be going to a nice dinner at Farrell, I believe, which I've never been to. It's just so nice. So many awards. I can't believe it still.
Have you thought about what you're going to talk about when you have to give next year's speech?
You know, I actually said, I need to start preparing here sooner than later. So I put some thought into it. I honestly am intimidated a little bit because some of the speeches that I heard were amazing, including Sarah's. So I've got a lot to live up to. I'm probably going to start practicing a little bit, writing a little bit over the summer, but I think it's all going to come together in time. I do well under pressure, so you never know. I might kind of start preparing it, not last minute, but I'll just start when the time is right.
I've heard that you had an experiment go up into space.
This year I got in touch with JP Aerospace, and actually one of my friends who reads every science article out there sent me an email and said, hey, you need to get your kids involved in an experiment where they get to send whatever they want into outer space. And he immediately had my attention. I said, hold on, what, we get to send stuff in outer space? And because my kids love space. And he said, yeah. And so he gave me the article and I read it. And basically, long story short, what they get to do is they get to put anything that will fit inside a ping pong ball. And they decorate the outside of the ping pong ball, so we kind of merge science and art together. And they can put anything in the ping pong ball except for live animals, explosives, and as long as it's under 2 ounces, I believe. So we kind of brainstormed and we came up with a lot of different things, and we actually got 80 spots, 80 ping pong balls on the April mission this year. And they took them up in huge helium balloons, JP Aerospace, out in the desert in Nevada. And each balloon and each ping pong ball reached over 100,000 feet. So literally the edge of space and the atmosphere. So they experienced cosmic rays from the sun, zero gravity. It got down to 80 degrees below zero. So I kind of told the students to pick between 2 categories, something that they want to hold and have and say that's been in space and to keep for the rest of their lives, and also if they wanted to do something that might have a reaction. So we put marshmallows in there, and the marshmallow expanded, it poofed up and then kind of went back down. Some of the other cool ones, I don't know, not many people probably know what an Orbi is, but it's a little gel ball that starts out about the size of a BB, and you put it in water and it absorbs it and gets bigger. And it actually shrunk back down to its original size, which they don't do unless, I guess, it goes up in that high in the atmosphere, because we've experimented with those in here. But we sent Skittles and every type of candy, and we just had a blast with it. And then the students get their ping pong ball back. They send it back to us. They get to investigate their results, and we did a whole investigation on that, as well as a certificate saying that their ping pong ball flew in space, complete detail about the flight. And in fact, it was kind of cool because a solar flare happened from the sun. The sun shot off a solar flare while our ping pong balls, I think, reached about 60 or 70,000 feet, which completely disrupted communication from JP Aerospace and the Pongs, as well as across a lot of the western part of the United States. So that was kind of neat. That might have played a part in it as well. So the ping pong ball experiment was awesome, and then just being fortunate enough to request, I think we're up to $300,000 or $400,000 worth of NASA artifacts, pieces of the Space Shuttle Endeavour, space tiles, all kinds of things. And we actually now have a NASA computer lab in our school here that's completely dedicated to all NASA artifacts that the 5th grade science has collected over the past, I guess I've been requesting items for the past 2.5 years, so really have quite a few of those now. So those are two big highlights in the science world here at Lynn Hale. I just love sharing ideas, whether it be music, movies, books, with anybody, so that just kind of spills over into my teaching philosophy. I honestly come in here possibly more excited than the students sometimes with my new information. I'm always telling them about science in the news or showing them some video clip from a nature show, and it's just very few people truly love their job. I find myself fortunate for that, and really getting to share that with other people too. So.
Look at this. Oh, it's gonna fall in. All came out the first. Why how come it isn't hot? I got moved. It's coming up. Never mind. Woo!
Here we go. Drop it in. Go. Put it on. Oh, other way. And flip it. Flip it. Okay, back up.
Are you scared? One.
Put too much.
You should cut some of that.
Don't breathe.
Yeah, no, right?
See how big we can get it. It's going fast.
Do you have a fun story to share?
My funniest teaching moment would probably be last year. Every year I do a Texas Rangers vocab challenge with science vocabulary words, and it lasts about almost a month. We stretch it out and we do several different tests, and depending on what grade they get, they earn a certain amount of tickets for the final drawing. And the grand prize is going to a Texas Ranger game with Mr. Burris, with me. So, and they also a Ranger basket with all kinds of goodies, so they really get excited about it. Even those who aren't even really baseball fans or Ranger fans, I say, hey, if you don't like the Rangers, we can pick a game, where you like the other team. So anyway, last year was my first year to do that. We did it again this year. And last year's winner, he's now in 6th grade. When he won, I drew the ticket. I built it up, drum roll and everything. I pulled the ticket and I said his name, and he jumps out. Yes, I did it! I did it! And just took off out of the classroom and with the basket and running around the school and the cafeteria. Now this is at the end of school, but he was truly excited. Everybody was like, "What did Jeremiah win? What's going on?" So we had a blast too at the game. I think he got one of every food item at the Rangers game that night. I'm surprised he wasn't sick, but we just had the best time. So I said, we definitely need to keep doing this. And I'm going, of course, with another student this year, probably next week. And that's also another highlight. The Ranger Vocab Challenge probably will always be a part of Mr. Burris' 5th grade science class. It's a hit.
Congratulations, Mr. Burris, Mr. Maples, and Miss Marsh, for all your hard work that you've put into your students. In our next show, we will feature the secondary winners of the 2012-2013 Aware Award, Corey Singer, winner in the junior high category, and our high school winner, Marilyn Clanton from Martin High School. I'd like to thank the Aware Foundation for their continuing support of our Arlington ISD educators, and I want to thank you as well for watching. I'm Jeannie Curtis, and we'll see you next time here on Conversations.